How we doing, pal?
Oh, we're doing great. It's so good to see you in that glorious mustache. I was just saying it's Mario and Luigi reporting live from the Dare to Dream
Yep.
podcast.
We could make that the new slogan, Mario and Luigi, if I keep this. But I was thinking, so I was shaving yesterday. I had a full beard. Get to the mustache, and you're always toying with the idea of getting rid of it. It's just a mere shave away, and I'm like, you know what? I'm feeling the call to keep it, and it made me think. Having a mustache just makes everything more playful.
Oh yeah.
That's I'm like, keep it because you can't look at yourself and like being in a terrible mood or be going through something hard and you have a mustache and not like just feel a little bit lighter. So I get the appeal.
Yeah, you cannot have a mustache and simultaneously be melancholy.
Or
You
yeah,
have to take
or take
yourself less
yourself very
seriously.
seriously. Jinx. So, anyways, got the mustache, pretty excited about it. And we'll see how long it lasts this time. But it's a pretty good one.
It's great. At least a 9 out of 10.
Yeah. For you audio listeners, come over to the YouTube because you get the full mustache situation. It's a lot of fun. Anywho, that's that.
You said we had a theme. You had a theme that you were going to try and impose on me today.
Yeah, that's right. So I'm gonna level with you, pal. I've been a little over the podcast lately. I'm
Mm,
just gonna come out and say it.
great.
It's I don't know if over it's the right word, but it's it's felt like a chore, a bit of a chore. Having to get together with you every week, talk for an hour, like Jesus. Just kidding. But just it's not easy. It's not easy doing this week after week. And you do the guest episodes, that's even more work, but there's a lot of work that goes into it. And we've been at it for like 208 weeks, pretty much.
We're going to hit five
And
years in July, which is nuts.
yeah, I was looking at, I'm going to come back to this, but when I started my newsletter, and I looked at, it was August 29th, 2020. So that's almost 5 years. And we were on episode 3 of the podcast. So we kicked all this off at the same time. And yeah, lately I've just been thinking like, oh man, like gotta work on the podcast. It's, put it on YouTube, do the whole deal. Thinking of things to say. It feels like we're talking about a lot of the same stuff, which isn't a bad thing. It's what we're going through. But I say all this because I since, and this all happened in the last 20 minutes. I since had the realization, don't fucking quit. Don't quit. This is when everybody quits. It's the valley. It's the difficult part. When you don't see the returns, when you haven't everything that you expected to happen hasn't happened yet. This is when people usually bow out. And it just hit me. Don't fucking quit. And I have several things that in my life where this pertains to, and it's why I'm feeling a little bit burnt out with the podcast because just a lot going on, and it's just another task, another thing to do. Obviously, I love it and we get so much from it, and we're not going to stop. But just being honest about the difficulties of it and the challenges, and yeah, man. But then just the other side is you can't stop. Can't stop, won't stop.
And if you don't stop, you can't lose. You can't fail. That was one thing that I'll come back to the podcast because I've shared so many of those same thoughts, and I really appreciate you having the courage to express those,
Mm.
especially on air in front of our millions of listeners. I went through the same journey with my coaching where, like, 2 years in, it sucked. It sucked so much. I didn't have very many clients. All the content I was creating was going into the void, and it seemed like no one was seeing it. I just felt really beat down, and I had this moment. It sounds very similar to what you just experienced, of realizing that this is where most people give up. This is the valley of despair. And if I can ride it out, if I can just not quit, that's the only metric for success, is just not stopping. That really, really helped me. And it also helped me. We talked about this many episodes ago, but realizing that this is what hard feels like. And it's
Hmm.
supposed to feel terrible at this moment. And there's a reason why everyone quits. If it was easy, everyone would do it.
Exactly. The things worth going for in life are not easy. And Alain de Botton, been kind of riding his wave lately. He's amazing, this writer and just philosopher, and he's all about just understanding ourselves. Like I just started his second, or not a second book, but my second book that I read by him, A Therapeutic Journey, Alain de Botton. It just, at the essence of like everything he's saying is just that we're all human, we're all fallible, and we just have to be easy on ourselves. And he goes into countless examples and stuff, but I love this philosophy of, um, yeah, just it's hard, and we have to give ourselves some grace. We have to realize that it's not always going to be rainbows and butterflies, and life is usually melancholy and difficult. And it's a miracle that we have any sort of mental health, and like, so highly recommend. I just started the second book, A Therapeutic Journey, but his book, The School of Life, is incredible, and just his like YouTube videos and stuff, beautiful, beautiful man, philosopher. But I don't really know why I brought him up. What were you saying just before that?
That everyone, if you want to succeed at something, you have to go through the hard part. You have to go through the part where everyone quits and it's not very fun.
Yeah. Well, yeah, just seeing that in, it's the podcast, it's with writing. I just started, I switched from my newsletter from free to paid, which we talked about last episode. And just realizing, like, looking back at my first newsletter 5 years ago, practically, and I've had so many of these moments throughout the journey of just like, why am I doing this? I'm seeing no real, monumental growth. It's kind of just the same thing. But then you got to realize that this is this is what hard feels like. Like this is the thing that most people aren't willing to do, because the shiny objective, the finish line, is so appealing, and we want to just get there, and we want to have all the glory. But 99% of life is the shitty journey. And it's like, it's the slog, and finding a way to make the slog enjoyable. Like 20 minutes ago, I was like trying to figure out what to talk about today, and I was like, God damn it, I don't really want to do this. And then like right before I went out, I'm like, oh my God, don't fucking quit. I just wrote it down in bold. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's it. That's what I needed to hear right now,
Yeah.
with the newsletter, with the podcast, with healing my back. Like it's all the things. Like there is there is that glory and the magic awaiting at the end of the line, but it's not necessarily what you're going to find, the success that you think. The magic is having the moments like I just had of, I got like a new life, a wind blown into me just when I had that thought.
Mm.
And it's those kind of moments that, it's the tiny little wins along the way that keep you going, that make the ride worth taking, because what's the alternative?
100%. And if I can just kind of build on this in a different way, it's even the really great shiny moments are also incredibly stressful. So my TEDx talk came out yesterday morning. I didn't think it was going to come out for another month. And I just checked my phone about 15 minutes before I was supposed to record a podcast. And I was like, oh shit. And I had to cancel the podcast, cancel some other meetings for the day, because right when it comes out, you have to hit the ground running and share it with so many people. And so
Mm-hmm.
yesterday is this moment that I've been waiting for so long. And it was so stressful. I was running around with a, I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off, just sending this out to so many people and simultaneously trying to remind myself to slow down, to soak it in. There's
Mm-hmm.
only one day where your TEDx comes out. And I was like, okay, let's try and enjoy this. And all these moments, the process leading up to it, getting selected, doing all the rehearsals, this thing is what I wanted more than anything. It's been on my bucket list. And the whole experience was incredibly stressful. And looking back, you can see the, oh my goodness, I'm so glad I did this. It was meaningful. It was fulfilling. Hopefully, it helps my career in some way. But the things that mean the most in life are often a struggle fest when you're in it.
Yeah, for sure. That's why I brought up Elaine de Baton. Okay, I'm gonna write this down so I can come back to it. Just really quick. So
Beautiful.
I want to say, um, dude, yeah, the TED Talk was so good.
Thanks,
Listened to
man.
the whole thing, which is shocking. And
All 8 minutes.
a lot of body movements. That's important, obviously. Like using your hands, creating the story. You did that beautifully. Yeah, dude, just walked. It was like so relatable and personal and just epic. Like it really just shone through just your enthusiasm and your love for it and what you're
Mm.
actually talking about being bold. It was epic, and that's the kind of stuff we need. Real human thoughts and human connection and ways to kind of just get out of our own head. I loved it about like all it takes is 10 seconds of facing your fear. Literally 10 seconds of looking like an idiot. When you said you're like, all it takes is 10 seconds of,
Terrifyingly bold action.
right. I would just say too, like 10 seconds of looking like an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants that. Like I've asked out girls in coffee shops and stuff. And I've looked like just such an idiot. Like in Japan, when I would try to speak Japanese and I completely tongue tied, and like the whole place felt like we're looking at me. And she like one time just asked a woman, like kind of made eye contact or something, and she was kind of leaving. I stood up to like try to make a move, try to like ask for her Instagram, and she's like, no. Oh, okay. I sat back down and pretended like I wasn't writhing in shame inside.
It's so good. Yeah. It's so funny. Obviously, that story I share in the TEDx is the time it went super, super well. And this isn't something that I've done a lot before, well, at least in terms of like going up to girls and giving them my phone number. Mika's the only person I've done that with. But there were so many times throughout the 100 days of rejection where it just sucked. It went horribly wrong. I'm going to correct myself. It only went horribly wrong one time. The guy who I asked if I could borrow $100, he was pretty rude to me. The rest of the people were just
Really?
like, what's like, what? Like
Yeah.
most people ended up laughing and smiling and it was a good experience. But oh yeah, there's definitely a handful that I just walk away from it and I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Like I literally just took time out of my workday to go walk to a park and ask a stranger for something ridiculous. Like, what the hell am I doing? So I just really resonate with that.
Dude, it's so funny. Yeah. I mean, even that, like, don't quit when you're on day 66 and like, like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
That's the only. And now I was thinking about that. I'm like, why did Greg do 100 days of these? Like, just, but first of all, it just made your day unordinary. And that's a good thing. But then I'm like, well, after this, you always have this story. Like, I did 100 days of rejection. Like, that is something you can just refer to and whatever it is. Like, that is something that very few people have done. It's not so much like, I mean, the individual stuff is all hilarious, the little stories, but just being able to say I, in a collective, like did 100 days of just the silliest challenges. That's that's kind of the reward. It's pretty awesome. And you
Thanks,
just
man.
have little things that you learn along the way that you don't realize how they'll come back late, like 20 years later. You'll be like, oh man, remember I cannonballed in that dude's pool? That was sick.
And what's coming up for me as you share that is that it doesn't feel like some big adventure when you're in it. Like
Mm.
when I was doing this, I wasn't like, oh yeah, this is going to be great. I'm going to do 100 days and then this is what I'm going to give a TEDx talk about in the future. Like that was not the case at all. I was doing this because I was terrified of rejection and I knew I needed to start getting out of my comfort zone more. And so when you're on the hero's journey, it doesn't feel good necessarily. I feel like that's kind of a theme of this episode so far. It's
Hmm.
only in looking back when it all comes together that you realize, oh yeah, this was a culmination of events that came together for the story. So there's that piece. And then I also just wanted to go back to how I was on stage with my movements and stuff. Thank you for saying that it looked natural and normal. It was really hard because I wasn't allowed to move my feet. I had to stand in one spot the whole time. That was a rule.
No
And
way.
that's super unnatural. So I had
Yeah.
to learn the hand motions and bring all of that in. And that, what you see, is what 108 practice rehearsals gets you. To bring it back to what we were talking about early, like the dip in the valley of despair, at 40 to 50 times rehearsing that, I was terrible. I started out really good because I was excited and authentic and it was just kind of coming out of me. And then you practice it 50 times and you actually get worse because it's so memorized, it's so rote. You're trying to put in the gestures at the right moment and you have to go through that valley of over rehearsing to get to the other
Hmm.
side where it again starts to look natural and feel natural again. So you
Hmm.
have to go through the dark woods to get there.
Yeah. And obviously, you weren't going to stop practicing. Like you knew you just had to get better and better, and you had to get to that point. But kind of looking at the bigger picture of like what we're going through in life, I wonder, how do you know if you have to keep pushing, or if you're like, this thing is just, I just gotta, I gotta quit?
Pull the
Because
plug.
yeah, pull the plug. Like there is a time when it's the right move to say, this is not, it's not working anymore, and I'm over it. Um, how the hell do you know?
If there are two questions that I would love the answer to more than anything, it would be that first one, which is how do you know whether you should quit or whether you should keep going? Because in one instance, you quit too early, you never make it to the other side. In another instance, quitting is the best thing you could ever do. And it opens up a whole new life for you. Like when I quit my job in finance, that's one that we'll come back to. The other question is in terms of resistance versus intuition. When do you know whether that reason you don't want to do something is resistance and you should just push through it and you're going to feel great on the other side? Or when is it your intuition trying to say, hey, actually don't do that? And maybe it's related to the quitting question. Maybe you should not push through that. Maybe you should pivot, go somewhere else. Those
Mhm.
two questions, if we could answer those, we would solve all of the world's problems.
Yeah, quite honestly. And it's interesting too. Like I just like how probably our greatest theme is to just start. That's the essence of the podcast, is whatever it is, whatever ember of inspiration you have burning inside of you that you feel can maybe turn into any sort of fire. Just start the damn thing, get it going. Like and that will change your life. Starting a book, starting a podcast. That's obviously my personal too, but whatever it is. But then there's the other side of, you've started the thing, you've been doing it for years, months. How do you know when to quit? How do you know when to stop doing the thing? It's kind of looking at, yeah, these two huge decisions in creativity and business and relationships, taking the chance, but then knowing when time has run its course. And there definitely isn't a perfect answer, but I think it does have a lot to do with how you feel, like in your body and your intuition, and what the thing actually is that you're going for. A question I guess to ask is, how much does it matter to you? How much does the thing matter? Like, I'm just thinking my own with the newsletter. It's been 5 years, but I imagine one day I'll look back and be like, that was just the groundwork of what it actually became. Like those are still the early days, 5 years in. And even with the podcast, like this could, in one world, this could be the end. I could just be like, I'm done with this thing. We've done over 200 episodes, been doing it for 5 years. Let's just pull the plug. Like I just don't want to do it anymore. In the world that we're going to live in, we're looking back in 20 years and saying that was just the beginning. We're thousands of episodes in, millions. We have millions of listeners. It's just, and how did we get here? Didn't quit when it got hard. And these are the times you got to dig deep and somehow make it interesting, somehow just get yourself to keep going.
Keep on keeping on.
Maybe it's by listening to this. I hope this, yeah, does make you ask yourselves these questions and hopefully inspire you to just keep going if it's something that you care about.
Well, I think something that maybe will bring a little more inspiration to today's topic as well is just looking back 5 years and seeing how different our lives are.
Mm.
5 years ago, I was miserable working in finance. I wanted to do all of the things I'm doing today, but I had no path, no idea, no inclination of how I could possibly do that or get there. And if me 5 years ago met me today, I would be so grateful. And I know I've said that a lot on this podcast, but it's actually unbelievable that all the things that I wanted to do when I was miserable in finance have started to happen. Definitely haven't checked the box on all of them. There's so much more to come, but I've become the person that I was dreaming about. and that I was daydreaming about as I'd walk to work. I'd put on this song by Odessa that says "One day they'll see," just on repeat, and I was just like, "One day I'll do all these things and show these people that I wasn't meant to be in finance my whole life." And that's starting to happen, and it feels so good.
Wow. Proud of you, man. It is beautiful. And that just makes me think about like, yeah, like how the path will never be perfectly laid out in front of you. It's the path is what the path is made of the steps that you take every day to pursue something that matters to you. And with like becoming a coach or becoming a writer, there's no linear just ladder to climb. It's a lot of intuition. It's a lot of just daily tasks that you feel like matter. It's just doing it's doing the one thing that matters the most, and that's for me. It's writing. For you, coaching, practicing, actually working with clients. Like so,
For me, it's mustache grooming, actually.
it's grooming the stash.
Yeah.
Me too. Soon enough. Uh, but yeah, it's like for people who are just starting and want to embark on some quest of something that they want to actually do with their life, you don't need to have the entire path laid out because you can't. There's no way you're going to be able to foresee what's going to happen in 6 months if you do take this journey, especially not in 2 years or 5 years. It's month by month. It's doing the daily work. It's the practice. And the only way to get from A to Z is just taking one step from A to B to C to D. And you figure things out as you go. And that's really like, that's the enjoyment of it. And I was watching Naval Ravikant on Modern Wisdom, recent episode, and Naval is one of my favorite people, but I've only read his almanac. But he's saying like he's one of the most influential, wealthy guys in tech, and he's just like such a chill dude now. And just looking back, you can see he's changed a lot. Like it sounds like he was the super hungry entrepreneur when he was young and trying to make it, but then he makes it, and he says like you should probably try to get the thing that you think will make you happy to realize it's not gonna make you happy. But it's better to get the thing than to always wonder or to try to renounce the thing before you get it. And that was a very complicated way of saying, you know, try to get the thing. If that's what you want, go for it and see if it's going to make you happy. And then it may or may not, but then at least at least you got it. And then you could kind of pivot instead of just being like, I don't need that. Say all this because he just talks about how the journey is all there is. Getting to that endpoint in the destination is not, that's just not the point. The point is everything that me and you have done on this path, all the little weird, you know, tricks that we've tried and the pivots and the changes that we made and the TED Talks and the 100-day challenges and freaking teaching English in Japan and working in a hostel. Like this is the journey.
Mm-hmm.
It's all these little experiences along the way that make going for your dreams something worth doing.
Yes. And I think something really important that you're bringing up is the importance of starting, which we talk about all the time, but the importance of having the courage to actually ask that big, messy question of what do I want to do with my life? And you aren't going to get the answer right away, probably, but
Mm-hmm.
you just decide to try something, and that's where you take the first step. And if you do that, it's going to be so much better than what I see a lot of people doing and what I was doing 5 years ago, which is obsessively optimizing areas of your life that are far less important.
Mm.
You think that the AG1 and the element electrolytes and the lemon water and the sunshine in your eyes in the morning and the 27-step morning routine, you think that you can self optimize your way to fulfillment. And I'm here to tell you that you can't.
Mm.
Those are all band-aid solutions. And I wrote about this in my newsletter, and I said it's like being on a rudderless ship and thinking that buying fancy deck ornaments and repainting the hull will help with navigation.
Mm.
Or said differently, there's a giant hole in your ship and you're going down. And instead of trying to bail out the water or patch the hole. You're doing another round of 75 hard or doing a gut detox. And I love talking about this because I can make fun of myself so much for this. And it
Right.
still happens to me today. Whenever I'm like overcomplicating things, I am obsessively optimizing. I know that I'm missing the mark. I know that I'm
Mhm.
trying too hard in a unhelpful way. When if I would just take a step back and simplify things and ask a bigger question, maybe ask the right question, it would help me so much. And so if you're listening to this and you're like, man, I'm doing all these things and nothing seems to be working, maybe take a step back and ask a bigger question.
Mhm. Yeah. I just have like an image in my mind of like some sort of nucleus, a nucleus, and the core of it is somewhat damaged. It's hurting, but you're just trying to polish the outside. You're just trying to keep the surface looking super clean and perfect, but inside, I don't want to say you're rotting away, but but maybe that's the case. Um, yeah, I like that a lot because I read your newsletter and like, yeah, I don't care as much about supplements and stuff. Like I want to just simplify and, but it's exactly what you said. It's like now you just work out in the morning and do what makes you happy with your work, and if you're healthier and like your life is just better. There, yeah, we can't compensate. You know, we try to compensate with something that we're lacking with, trying to make sure everything else is perfect in our lives instead of focusing on the thing that is actually needing our attention. And yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense with me. Like just healing my body and figuring out what I'm trying to do. It's constantly getting rid of the noise and trying to just put up the blinders and understand what actually matters and what's, and that is what I'm learning with mind body healing that I'm going through. And yeah, it's been a year now. Um, I'm still on the healing journey. I'm still feeling stuff in my back, and but I've come a long way. I've definitely, it makes a lot more sense that there's nothing wrong with my body, and it's just a daily practice of just relaxing and like relaxing my nervous system and just letting it know that there's nothing wrong, and when I do feel things, it's okay. But to whittle it down, all it is really is two things: allowing and accepting. When I feel the sensations in my back, allow it. In other words, surrender. Surrender to what you feel, and then accept it. In other words, embrace. So it's surrender and embrace. Those are the two things you have to do. And that's with everything that I learned about healing my body applies to everything in life. With pain, with uncomfortable circumstances, with just things don't make sense, allow them. Allow the uncomfortable emotions, allow the pain in. Don't fight it. Don't try to run away from it. Don't freeze up. Allow it. Say surrender and just let it be what it is, and then embrace it. Embrace the sadness or the anger or the fear and lean into it. Just be like, yes, this is a human thing. I'm a human. I'm not perfect. I will embrace what I'm feeling instead of trying to push it down and fight it. And I brought that up just because I've like learned so much on this journey of healing and about mind body. I've read 6 books and done so much just like studying of it. And that's the essence. It's just two things: allow and accept. And I think life is, for me, I just want it to be simpler, just focusing on the things that matters instead of adding more and more and more, just kind of finding what makes you happy. In a sense, happy is a big thing to strive for. But what you were saying before of picking something, it doesn't have to be what you're destined to do with your life, but it could just be something that you're interested in and that maybe you enjoyed as a kid. Like when you simplify and just kind of put up the blinders to everything we're supposed to do and that we're supposed to be, what family wants, what society says is important, like there's something that at least calls to you that sounds somewhat interesting. And if you can just try that thing and then commit to it, I think a big thing, part of like what we've done, and I'm very proud of both of us for this, is committing to something. Like for this podcast, for example,
Yeah.
you step into the ring and you say, I'm going to commit to this for the long haul because the seeds take time to blossom. We're still planting seeds and they are starting to bloom for sure. But things take time. Things that matter take a long time. So commitment is big. And obviously in this podcast, we talk a lot about finding your passion and going for your dreams and stuff, but like that's a lot to ask. Life is very confusing, but if you could just inch your way closer to what actually matters to you and something that you might truly enjoy doing, be easy on yourself and try it, commit to something.
I love what you're saying here because it's called Dare to Dream because it is a daring act to even consider that you could go after your dream. And that's really what we talk about. It's not called find your dream or locate your dream or know exactly what you want to do with your life. It's
Mm,
that first initial courage to say, hey, I want something greater than what I currently have. I'm willing to commit to something. And I think you absolutely nailed it because for me, I feel like I've found the thing I'm supposed to do for maybe the rest of my life, or maybe it's just a long chunk, which is coaching.
maybe this life, maybe 3 more lives. It's definitely the thing.
But I found that through committing to the wrong thing, or not even the wrong thing, but the thing that led me to coaching, which was starting that nonprofit. I
Hmm.
discovered coaching because we partnered with a coaching company. I had never heard of executive coaching, leadership coaching. Obviously, I had heard of life coaching. And it was through what, looking back, is almost, it's not a misstep because it got
Stepping
me
stone.
exactly where I want. Yet it's a stepping stone. And so I think that's why it's so important to realize that you don't have to get it right on the first time. It took me 4 times to get to where I am today. And it's just that asking a big question, what do I want? Choosing something that you think might answer that question of what I want, and then having the courage to commit to it and give it a shot and stick it out for long enough to where you either realize that that is the thing and you can stick with it, or it's like a train taking you across the country and you can jump off at the right stop for you.
Mm. And wow, just to go full circle, this comes back to when to quit and when to keep going. And yeah, 100%. Like you can't get to the thing you might ultimately be destined to do or that really fires you up without trying some things. And that's what I love about the journey and just realizing that it takes a lot of the pressure off when you realize that you're not going to get it right the first time, or that when you just surrender to the fact that it's going to take a long time. So when things aren't going great, you can just be like, this is just part of it. Like this is 100% how it's supposed to be. Um, and yeah, like with me, it's to find the thing that I definitely love. Like I love writing, and this is what I'm doing for now. I got it through searching for the thing, which is pretty cool. I was writing to find what I'm supposed to do with my life and like just how to make sense of the world after college because I'd studied journalism and just did not want anything to do with writing. And then I graduated and I'm like, what the hell do I do? And I started just blogging. I'm like, oh wow, I like this. And that opened up just a treasure map of potential of like, what the hell am I supposed to do? Do I start writing online? Do I actually want to write books? Like, how do I do that? And yeah, it's been like an 8 year journey with writing. I'm still just figuring it out, it's one step at a time. But yeah, I love what you're saying about daring to dream. That's the freaking point. That's why I always love the name of this podcast because it's not about finding the thing. It's not about arriving. It's about having the courage to embark,
To go for it.
to go for it.
I love what you're saying about you found the thing through trying to find the thing, which was writing. You were using writing to try and figure out what you wanted to do, and then you realized that writing was the thing you wanted to do.
Yeah.
That's so similar for me. I was using personal development as a tool to try and discover my purpose. And then I realized that that whole process of trying to discover my purpose using personal development was what I love. And that's
Hmm.
what I love helping other people do. It's really interesting that for both of us, it's kind of emerged
Yeah.
like that.
So how, like, say somebody is trying different things, they want to find what something they can really commit to. How do you know when it's time to commit and go all in on something versus this just feels like another thing that could be cool, but I'm not in love with it yet. I just think like, you know, there's so much room for me to grow as a writer. I'm not. There's just a lot. I'm not. Obviously, I'm not a perfect writer, but like, I'm just at the beginning of the journey, basically. Um, but it's daunting, like to be like I'm committing to something that is very difficult. It's going to take decades to get good. How do you know when you're like, yeah, this is the thing I want to commit to?
You don't. And
Hmm.
I think that's why it's rare to find people who go after their dreams because you'll never actually know in the moment. I think maybe you know looking back, but it is going to require a leap of faith, an experiment, a dance in the unknown. I don't think you can ever know for sure.
Hmm. Yep, that's it. Mic drop. 100%. I still, from the outside looking in on both of us, it's like they found the thing. It's awesome. And now you just commit. But it's like, I speak for myself. I still question if writing will ultimately be the thing I'll do for the rest of my life. Like, you don't know with 100% certainty. You just don't. But there is something inside of you that you enjoy doing. You want to get up and do this thing. It does, the actual act of doing it does bring you some joy or some happiness. And it makes the slog a little bit more manageable or just doable. If you do find that something, I think good criteria is something that you enjoy doing that most people do not. And I enjoy the day to day task of just writing a story or just editing a story. I enjoy that even more, pretty much. Like whittling it down to polish up a sentence brings me joy. And I wrote about that recently, just a couple days ago. Like I just love words and the way it's like a puzzle on the page, the way they fit together and trying to make them sound poetic and stuff like that is something that I enjoy that I think most people don't really care as much about. And that's a sign. I'm like, okay, I have something here. And here's another thing. Like it's not like I even want to do it every day, but it's the practice that I've committed to. And just for me realizing like I got something pretty good here. I'm pretty good, like naturally good at it for starters. Like I have a base of I can write. I enjoy it. There is boundless potential to grow. And I've already started. Like, so even though it's hard, I know that it's something worth going for. I think that's something else to think about. Like, even if you find the thing, it's not going to just be full steam ahead every day. You're just dying to do it. It's sacrifice and commitment. And that's the good stuff in life. It's worth sacrificing for. It's worth committing yourself to for a long time to really see seeds blossom over years into a meaningful existence.
Yes. And I was thinking about this the other day that this feels related. I used to think growing up that at some point my teacher, this wizard figure, was going to come find me and be like, ha ha, you thought that you were going to have to go work as an internal auditor for the rest of your life, but that's not real life. Like, here's your secret mission. You're actually going to Hogwarts or whatever
Internal
variation
auditor.
you want to do. This is the real life. Like, that is all just a facade of what boring, terrible adult life looks like. And I kept waiting for that moment to happen. And I realized that my guide, my wizard, wasn't coming to save me. I needed to take matters into my own hands and kind of save myself there. And I was thinking about this while I was driving yesterday. Is like, my life feels like that magical world now because I am creating it. I feel like
Hmm.
I am the author of my own life, to quote Thea, who was on last episode, I believe. anything feels possible. And because I'm in this world of coaching, like coaching is all made up. Like I get to decide if I want to do one-on-one or group or retreats or all these things. And so I have two things to say about this. One is that I think if you're listening to this and you don't know what you want to do, just pick something and commit to it for a year. Just see how far that takes you. And like the train metaphor earlier, maybe it takes you in a direction that's not where you ultimately want to go, but you get off a few stops early and you
Hmm.
end up where you are meant to be. The second thing is just start creating your own life in whatever way you can. Maybe that's modifying your schedule a little bit. Maybe it's being a little bit more playful and having more fun. If you
Mustache.
can, yeah, if you can grow a mustache,
If you could grow a
absolutely do it.
mustache, do it. It'll change everything.
I just, oh man, I haven't written about this yet, so I can't fully articulate it, but it's this so much joy I have now that when I look at my future, it's not the robotic autopilot. I can't believe this is what I have to do for the rest of my life. It's really a question mark, or rather an exclamation point of what is possible, like what can happen next. And there's so much joy and excitement around it.
Yeah, I 100% back that. It's when you do find the thing that makes like, you know, everything that we're talking about, something that lights you up inside and you enjoy doing and there's potential to grow, it makes life so much more enjoyable because it's a grand mystery. And when you finally, I mean, when you start making um, taking bold action and like actually taking life into your own hands, you do realize that anything is possible. And it sounds like, you know, hyperbole, if you will, but it's real. Like we are the masters of our destiny and we have one shot at this thing.
You
And
can you can literally go out and ask a stranger for their number and they can become your life partner. Like you have so much more control over living this fairy tale adventure fulfilled life than you think.
mhm,
And I think that's what I'm trying to share is that like literally anything is possible if you're willing to
yep.
get unbelievably uncomfortable for 10 seconds.
That's the thing. It's through the challenge is the adventure. Like the difficulty, the chosen difficulty is pretty much the adventure of your life. It is hard to do what we do, like what we're going for. Doesn't mean we're not enjoying it. Like I just had the kind of insight that I'm going to make my book about Japan fiction. It's going to be my third book. It's going to be a goddamn novel about a guy who teaches English in Japan, but I could just let my imagination run with it. But it's based on my real experience. I don't know how I didn't think of that before, but like it makes so much sense. Like it's a new challenge. It's I could really just lose myself in this world of Japan that I know pretty damn well, but also have it not be specifically about every little thing that I did, even though a lot of the experiences will be based on what I did because it was pretty fucking awesome. And I'm just like so psyched about that. And part of me is like, I forget how to write a book. So I'm like reading again, like just my favorite books about writing because how to write in third person, how to like just, and it's fun. It's like this new challenge. And obviously, there are millions of fiction books out there, but who cares? Like, as I very well know, writing the book, having the struggles, that is the point. Like, I'm going through the kind of the victory lap of having my second book published, and it's great, but it's, it is what it is. The fun part is writing the damn thing and being on that journey and figuring it out and seeing it turn from this big old mound of clay into something real. And so I'm just like fired up. It does make me feel like a kid again. I'm like reading with excitement and joy again, just looking about how other, writers write. I'm just thinking about the actual plot and I could do anything. And why not bring that attitude to whatever it is we do? Because this life is, this life is for living. It's for enjoying. And while we're often going to have to do things we do not want to do, and there's going to be struggle and pain, that really is the good stuff. And there can 1,000% be a marriage of joy and pain the darkness and the light. That's what makes life beautiful. And we're all human experiencing these things. Might as well have some fun with it. Take matters into your own hand and figure out how to live a life that is truly yours.
How to live a story worth telling.
Mm,
I think that's it. I think we nailed it. I think it's time to land the plane.
land it. That was beautiful, buddy. Yeah, felt good about this one. Like, because it's what we're experiencing. That is the Dare to Dream podcast. It's what we like. I use this podcast to inspire me. It 100% changed my outlook on what we're doing, changed my attitude for the day. Just don't quit. Like, it's so simple but profound. Really, just don't quit.
Don't quit. Don't you dare quit. I'm gonna
Don't
feel
you
like
dare.
we have to talk offline here. I gotta coax you back into this. But thank you for showing up today, Vinny. I love you, man. This has been such an honor and a privilege getting to be on this journey with you. So
Mm,
much fun, and we're just getting started.
sure are, pal. Love you. Thanks, y'all, for tuning in. We'll put Greg's TED Talk in the show notes.
Yeah.
100%. And much love.
Like it, leave a comment, and leave a hate comment. There's not enough hate comments on there yet.
We
So,
got to pump the hate,
yes.
make the internet what it's known for.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time.